take projection.
It's Friday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Alabama Slam podcast. I'm your host, Corey Hanna.
What's going on, guys? It's Patrick Akers.
And we're a couple days late this week, but we're still coming in strong. I was out of town Tuesday night when we normally record. I was at a concert in Nashville, so we're recording tonight.
Oh, who'd you go see?
I went to see Mac Sabbath and the Cybertronic Spree.
That's never even heard of that.
Never heard. I had heard the name Mac Sabbath, and a friend of mine mentioned the Cybertronic Spree a few months back, and he was mostly in it for Cybertronic Spree, and I was like, well, this will be fun, because I liked Transformers when I was a kid. The movies suck ass, like the new movies, but this band dresses up as Transformers and plays like music from the 1986 animated movie.
Okay.
So like that song, remember the song from Boogie Nights? You got the touch.
Yeah.
That's from the Transformers movie.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, but they played that, and they played some stuff from the movie, and then they played a couple of other random covers, like they did Thunderstruck by AC/DC and Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, and like a couple of originals. But like they got a badass costume. Like they're all just decked out.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the fuck they play those instruments, like, because the guitar players have got fucking gloves on their hands and stuff. I don't know how they do it. But then Mac Sabbath is essentially a Black Sabbath cover band, but they sing about fast food, and they're all dressed as like McDonald Land characters.
Okay.
Excuse me, my throat's all dried out. So like the singer is dressed up like a crazed Ronald McDonald. And then the guitar player his name is Slayer McCheese instead of Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
And then the bass player is dressed up as Grimace. And he's got the hands on, but then like they're just flopping in front of his actual hands, so he can actually play the bass. Yeah,
because I'm sure it's probably impossible.
Yeah.
To play with Grimace hands.
And then you're fucking standing there with goddamn probably 40 pounds of this big fucking suit. Like it's just humongous. Like it takes up a very large portion of the stage. So he's probably just like hanging in there just to fucking balance himself. And then the drummer is dressed up as the Hamburglar.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be. So how many people were in the audience?
It's about 250, 300.
This is the crazy thing about music. Is it like, you ask like your friends, like, oh, who'd you go see? And they say a band. And you're like, you could have made that up. But apparently there are 300 people on a fucking Tuesday night in Nashville that like love this band enough to go see it. Yeah. It's just crazy. There's so much music out there.
Yeah.
In a way that you can just like get lost in these little deep alleys of things and people have literally never heard of. You can literally just make your own world of music that no one else has ever heard of.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I remember I heard about Mac Sabbath several years back, just as like one of those things that just popped across the internet, you know?
Yeah.
But they don't have they're not on Spotify. They've got a handful of like songs that they recorded and put on and made music videos for.
Yeah.
That are on YouTube. But yeah, and it was at the Exit Inn in Nashville, and I'd only been there once before. It was 20 years ago. The very first time I saw My Morning Jacket was there in a room for, it holds maybe 300 tops. And it was fairly packed the other night. Nuts.
That's wild.
And insane. The Mac Sabbath show was fun as shit. They had stage gags and stuff like that. And in between songs, the dude sounds like, he's got the Aussie thing down. He's like, ha ha ha, hey, he's doing the Aussie.
Yeah.
It's fun as shit, man. And they sounded really good. Like, and Cybertronic Spree they were fucking tight as hell as a band. And like their guitar player is just fucking shredding. Just really fun. Is it something I listen to all the time? No.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that
like you go for the show?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's experience.
I bought a CD from the Cybertronic Spree because they were out of the vinyl that I wanted, because they recorded the entire soundtrack from 1986. It's not on Spotify or anything, but you can get physical copies of it. It's probably cheaper to license it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was like, well, I guess I'll listen to this in my car because I don't have a CD player at the house. I could use Carter's PlayStation, I guess. But
If you asked me to go find a CD player, I don't even know where I would go.
yeah. So I listened to it like a couple times in my car yesterday, and that'll probably do me until the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but it was fun as shit. Like if they can't come to Huntsville, I'm there in a minute.
Yeah.
Would I drive to Nashville again for it? Probably not.
Yeah.
Unless I just don't have shit going on. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, it was fun as hell.
It's kind of like that. What was that comedian Gallagher? Just smashed the water. Once you see them smash the watermelons once, you kind of just get it, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming the Cybertronic Spree is going to play more or less the same set every show, unless they work up like a couple of different covers.
Yeah.
Or if they're on a headline tour, they would play a few more like original songs or something. But like,
and then one night they're gonna be like, "All right, this is Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. Here we go."
Yeah, but yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So that's why we didn't record on Tuesday. But yeah, let's get into the week in wrestling. Crown Jewel was Saturday night. I missed that. I had a wedding. One of my homies, the best homies, got married Saturday night, but I watched most of it today. Didn't get to a couple of matches, but we texted about it. A friend of the show, Steven, in our group chat said he was like, he called it a mid show, right?
It's it is. Listen, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I haven't watched WWE like the matches fully in like a while. Because like I've talked about before, I usually just fast forward a lot of Monday Night Raw, a lot of SmackDown. This is the first time I really sat down and like just watched the matches. There is just a style to these matches, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. But in every one of these matches, like it hits a point. They do the beginning. The last third of every single WWE match is exactly the same. There's a big move. There's a pin. 1, 2, kick out. Oh, then whoever was getting pinned does a big move, counter. 1, 2, 3, kick. And it goes that way for about 8 minutes, and then they go home.
Yeah. And Drew kicks out of the fucking slam, the head slam and everything. Like, oh, he kicked out. Nobody ever kicks out.
Yeah.
And then we got that. And then we get essentially the same thing at the end of the Roman LA Knight match.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. And so, like, that doesn't ruin my enjoyment. That lessens my enjoyment of WWE. Like, if you were to ask me why do I like AEW more, it's because of that. It's because the matches are surprising. I couldn't tell you the last time a surprising thing happened in a WWE match. Yeah. They kind of are what they are at this point.
I mean, because I watched Dynamite this morning, and this is Crown Jewel is fine, but I got way more out of Swerve Strickland versus Penta.
100%. Like, if Swerve Strickland and Penta had like if Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre had the exact same match that Penta and Swerve did in Crown Jewel, we'd be on this podcast being like, holy shit, was that a match of the year?
Yeah.
And that was just on a random Dynamite. Yeah. You know?
Dynamite last night was pretty fire. We'll get there in a minute, but
I mean, that's like, they're just different. They're different. They are different genres of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally WWE doesn't call itself professional wrestling. It calls itself sports entertainment. What they are untouchable at, and again, Crown Jewel is a great example of it, the entrances, the spectacle, the production design, the camera work. I mean, they are top notch in a way that no wrestling company's ever been. It's just that the wrestling itself, there is kind of just a style to it. And this is partly part of the problem when you have a performance center where there's 3 or 4 coaches. Everybody kind of learns how to wrestle the same way, you know? Mm-hmm. If you had one guitar teacher that just taught 50, 60, 70 people how to play guitar, mm-hmm. they're all going to probably kind of sound the same. Not that that's necessarily bad. It's just that it's going to look samey and sound samey. And that's kind of what Crown Jewel was. Now, there were still some cool moments at Crown Jewel. And probably this match, Seth and Drew, I think was the best one of the afternoon or the night, whenever this was. But I mean, that was, mid is kind of a good descriptor for Crown Jewel as a whole.
You know, I didn't get to try to watch it until today. So I was like, there are certain things that I'm just not going to watch just for time reasons. And I knew the outcome anyway, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Drew and Seth was good. It's a good way to start the show.
It was good. It was good for that style. Drew takes another loss, and so you have to wonder what they have in store for him. I guess a full-blown heel turn at some point is coming. And then Seth obviously keeps the title. He's still insanely over with the crowd. And then we get yet another just a bonehead cash-in attempt by Damian Priest. This shit is driving me insane.
Yeah.
How many times you got to look at a referee and just be like, I'm going. Are you sure? Are you sure? Yes, we ran down here together from the back. I'm sure that this is what I want to do right now.
You knew my intentions.
Yeah. And then he gets blindsided by Seth. Why was the rest of the Judgment Day not out there?
Well, I ranted about this.
Tangent.
Yeah, I ranted about this last week. Is it that they don't have any faith in Damian now or something? Like, why did they let Sammy come in and take the case? Like, that was my whole problem when Otis had the case a few years ago and then it got stolen from him. I'm like, this isn't how this shit should work to me.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Michael Cole today was like, well, you have to be in possession of the briefcase. Fine.
Yeah.
But it sounds like now you're saying that to make the point that
I just don't. Okay, so from a reality standpoint, yeah, I get what you're saying.
But shouldn't it already have your fucking name on it at this point?
Yeah. From a kayfabe aspect, why is there not a Judgment Day meeting? Is there not a huddle? Hey, I'm about to go do this. Why don't we make sure that like we all can come out there and beat the shit out of Seth before I cash it in?
Fucking standing there when Drew walked by.
Yeah.
She couldn't have been that far away from fucking Damian.
Like, this is... And like you said, it's probably because they don't buy Damian Priest as a world champion at this point. They're certainly not presenting him that kind of way, right? He just kind of gets pushed to the side, right? He gets his lunch money stolen, basically, from Sami Zayn.
They got fucking JD McDonough in there fixing to get some shine. Like,
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what happens with the briefcase. I mean, you can ride it a ton of different ways, right? Like, you could have come out of Crown Jewel and be like, it's not going to happen with Damian. Damian and Sammy are going to have a match at some point. We're going to give the briefcase to Sammy. Like, you could do that, I guess, if you wanted to, but then why not just do that at the beginning, right? Why do this whole rigmarole?
Well, so now is Sammy going to try to use it to cash in on Seth?
Well, Monday Night Raw, he had to give it back.
Oh, so I fucking missed that.
Okay, so they made that point when Seth Rollins was out there. He brought out Sami Zayn, and they were like, oh, I saw you in Adam Pearce's office. He made you give the briefcase back.
Oh, okay.
So,
I missed that.
Yeah, so there was that whole
I only
thing.
saw like the last hour and a half of Raw.
Yeah, so they made that point at the beginning. But still, it's just...
so now Damian's got it again?
Damian has it again, but what? At this point, they're going to do War Games Survivor Series we'll talk about. After that, it's going to be the Royal Rumble. After that, it's going to be WrestleMania. I do not see him cashing in at WrestleMania. I don't see that kind of big moment happening for a guy like Damian Priest. And then, but then you got to think, he's got a year. Like
TikTok.
Yeah, we're running out of time here. So, again, I just think when you do things like this, I know they want to present the Judgment Day as like this badass faction. Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw literally called him Bloodline 2.0. But to me, they do not come across that way because they have little moments like yet another failed cash-in attempt that gets thwarted, and Judgment Day is just left looking like complete idiots.
Yeah, I'm still over the whole somebody else running off with a briefcase, even if it was Sami Zayn. Fucking don't.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
Ride it a different way.
Yeah. Next, let's get into the women's world title. Rhea versus Jax versus Stark versus Rodriguez versus Baszler. Went about the way we figured it would with Rhea.
Yeah, I mean, that title is not coming off Rhea anytime soon.
No.
I thought the match was cool. The match had some good spots in it. Shayna Baszler, like, having a submission on everybody was cool. Zoe Stark hitting that crazy GTS variation on Rhea Ripley and her like selling it like she'd been legit knocked out was great. Raquel Rodriguez had her moments. Nia Jax might be the worst professional wrestler ever to be presented in any kind of like big capacity. Yeah. I mean, she's up there at this point with like Great Khali in terms of just like this. She can't wrestle, but yet she is.
Yeah, they
on this thing
brought her back for whatever reason.
Yeah. There's just nothing interesting about her to me. Mm-mm. She's big. Okay. She ain't got nothing else. Just nothing else going for her. But yeah, this was, again, I mean, this was kind of just a way to get Rhea Ripley on the Crown Jewel show. At least she's like defending her title. That was a criticism we kind of had, is like, oh, she's just part of the Judgment Day and that's it. The title has gone nowhere. But now at least over these past couple of weeks, she's had challengers emerge.
Yeah, she got her hands full keeping them online, but at some point you got to defend that title.
Yeah, and at Survivor Series, flash forward to Monday Night Raw, Zoe Stark won her number one contender, so it'll be Rhea Ripley and Zoe Stark at Survivor Series for the belt. And it was a little conspicuous. Becky Lynch was going to be a part of it, and then she gets jumped. They take her out. They're clearly saving that for something bigger. That's a potential WrestleMania main event. So,
yeah, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
They kind of teased it a couple months ago, and then
they teased it, and then they sent Becky down to NXT to keep things fresh. And I mean, that seems like what they're getting around to.
Yeah. So John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, just about the right time since the SAG strike is over.
I think they got wind.
Yeah.
That it was coming.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this was probably how it was going to go down anyway. But,
yeah, I don't think it would have changed the.
But it was good timing, right?
Yeah, and I mean, listen, this is classic WWE storytelling. John Cena tries to stay away from the Samoan Spike, try to stay away from it. Boom, he gets hit with it, and then Solo just decimates him. Really, I know I've said this from the get go. I still do not buy Solo Sikoa as this character that they are trying to portray.
No, and Cena the other night was like, "We've been waiting for you to talk for a year and a half, and this is all you got."
There's that, and I don't want to be like the dick, but there's also like the physical stature. John Cena is bigger than Solo Sikoa. Okay, again, like it's hard to present somebody as an enforcer of a group when that person is the smallest person in the group, unless you were going to present them as batshit crazy, right? Like Charlie Kelly wild card bitches type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like. Solo's just, he's just Umaga, but he's, I don't know, 6 inches shorter and probably 55 pounds smaller.
Yeah, this, I pulled up the results from Bleacher Report just so we'd have a frame of reference. And one of the notable moments from the BR report or article says Sikoa may have a lot in common with Umaga, but seeing him face Cena really illustrates how much bigger Umaga was.
Yeah, like that to me, that is a problem. WWE clearly doesn't see it as a problem, but like I put it this way: we saw Solo Sikoa stand next to Drew McIntyre. Who looks more physically imposing when the two of those guys stands out?
Yeah.
And one of them just lost a match to Seth Rollins. The other one just decimated a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer and maybe, what WWE calls the greatest superstar of all time. And, one guy looks one way and the other guy looks the other way. Like at the end of the day, it is wrestling. Looks do matter. I just do not see all the stock they are putting in Solo Sikoa. We'll see if it pays off. But
it'd be fine if they weren't trying to present him as the enforcer.
Yeah, right? It's a presentation. That's all it is.
Because we don't have this problem with Orange Cassidy.
No.
But he's not presented as...
Nobody's afraid of Orange Cassidy.
Right.
People act like they're afraid of Solo Sikoa. Like Roman Reigns, who is 6'4", 250, is like, go do my bidding.
Yeah.
It just looks...
Yeah.
Again, it looks off. Particularly when there's another dude. Now, this dude might be a little bit of a head case, but like I've talked about this guy, Jacob Fatu, who's also in the Samoan family. Legit looks like the type of enforcer dude. He's probably 360, 6'2". He looks the part. Again, it's just a size thing with Solo. If Solo was presented any other kind of way, if he was presented as like the best wrestler and was like this technical savant, that would be a different thing. But he is literally just Umaga 2.0 and he's smaller. And we know what Umaga looked like against John Cena, that you can go look up those clips on YouTube.
Right.
Doesn't it look different? So I don't know. That's my only gripe with Solo. Again, WWE clearly doesn't see it that way. Or if they do, they don't seemingly have a problem with it. And yeah, like you said, at some point, this dude still has to like talk and have a character.
Yeah.
He can't just be stoic.
Because Bloodline, it ain't going to last forever.
Yeah, the shelf life is about to run out on it.
Mm-hmm. Up next, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Logan Paul gets the win. Probably saved Rey Mysterio's life. Did you see that?
I did see it. Yeah.
Circulating that clip of him catching him. Good catch.
Good. And again, this is dude's 8th match, and he already has enough ring awareness to be like, that guy's going to land short. Let me go get him.
Yeah, I mean, good move because, there's probably not a lot of people that would have caught that.
Well, there would have, but not in their 8th match.
No, yeah, right.
Not like your 8th match, you're worried about all sorts of other different things. Like, and most people don't even have their 8th match in front of a sold out crowd on TV in front of millions of people, right? Most people have their 8th match like I did when a barn full of like 5 people and 3 of them are family and one of them probably looks like he's probably hiding from the sheriff's department. Don't even want to be there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's crazy. I think we called this that Logan Paul would get the win. I mean, it immediately puts a lot more cachet on that United States Championship that kind of has been doing nothing.
Right.
And so you give it to a guy like Logan Paul, huge social media star. He's already, I don't know if you saw these, he's taking pictures with the belt, he gets to now have it probably until WrestleMania. All his appearances he's going to do, he's going to have that belt. This is such a smart choice, particularly if what we think happens actually comes to fruition and we get LA Knight and Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the United States Championship. That will then be LA Knight's kind of real crowning achievement moment. This is fantastic build up for that.
Yeah.
And it was good. I mean, Logan Paul was impressive. He was good in this.
He's been in any of the matches he's been in. I mean,
but this was the first time where it was like, okay, yeah, he is just like this good. Like, it's not a fluke. Like,
yeah,
he's like I said, he's catching the dude and saving him from injury. He's doing all the spots flawlessly. He doesn't look like he's trying to coordinate with his opponent. Like, he actually looks like he's fighting.
Yeah.
Again, that's such a special skill set. This is not picking a nit. This is idiotic. Did you actually watch this match?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So at the end, Logan Paul pulls out the brass knuckles, right? They get knocked out of his hand. Logan Paul's got one of his little cronies by ringside, okay? They do a great shot. Brass knuckles are on the floor. Homeboy goes to try to crawl it. Santos Escobar jumps over the guardrail, foot down on the brass knuckles, preventing the guy from getting it right. Santos picks up the brass knuckles, runs the guy off, but lays the brass knuckles on the apron of the ring instead of taking them with him or throwing them away or something, which then allows Logan to grab the brass knuckles and do the same and get the win, yada, yada, yada. Again, when you present particularly good guys, you can present heels this way. Heels can be dipshits. Yeah. It adds to their heat. But when you present baby faces as just these bumbling kind of fucking idiots,
yeah,
it kills just kind of anything. Like, basically, that's like the horror movie where like the victim like picks up. That'd be like picking up a chainsaw to fight the bad guy, cranking it, and then just dropping it and taking off running. Yeah. Like, no, you got the chainsaw at this point. You might as well just fight.
Yeah,
do something. So yeah, I was just watching and be like, man, this was just take the brass knuckles with you, and then Logan can have like a backup set of brass knuckles. You can literally do anything else, low blow, whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
but no, Santos just put him right back in front of Logan Paul.
That's pretty dumb.
It's dumb, idiotic. But I'm not in those rooms, so what are you gonna do?
Io Sky versus Bianca Belair next for the WWE Women's title. Io retains. Kairi Sane was back.
And the fans really didn't care. At least it didn't come through the TV as if they cared. This was the first match where I was like, I'm kind of bored by Bianca. I get it. She looks like $1 million, but and they probably don't want to change her character because I'm sure she sells a lot of merch, particularly to kids. But like, there has been no evolution of her since she started. It's the hair, it's the same moveset.
Yeah, and you can't really call yourself the EST if you're not the champ. I mean, you can.
Well,
but it kind of lessens it.
She gets the John Cena treatment where it literally takes 4 women to beat her. You know, nobody just beats her one-on-one. Like even in this match, Bayley came out and then Kairi Sane hit her with the backspin fist. And then Io still had to hit her with a moonsault. But like, they had a really good match at Backlash. But if you remember in that Backlash match, the fans were 95, 98% behind Io Sky.
Yeah.
It's a huge Io chant, like we talked about on this podcast. Was still kind of a big Io chant here in Crown Jewel. Wasn't 98, but it might have been 55-45 for Io, I think. But yeah, this was the first time watching Bianca. I was like, I don't know. Something needs to change. She's become more than bland at this point. But again, we said the same thing about John Cena when his run was at the top, and they just never, you know, he was doing the Make-A-Wish and he was selling merch, and they never wanted to turn him and do anything different with him. And Bianca's got a reality show that's about to pop off or is popping off, something like that.
So her and Montez.
Yeah, probably nothing's going to change with her. But yeah, I did not think this was great.
So the other one that I did want to see that I didn't get to see was Priest versus Cody Rhodes. Cody gets the win. So fill me in on this one because I totally didn't see. I haven't seen any clips or anything on this one.
What happened in this one? Cody got the win, obviously. Was there some shenanigans? I feel like there were shenanigans. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. They all run together. Maybe, yeah. This is where JD McDonough tried to come out, and Jey Uso came out and gave him a super kick. So the Cody and Jey partnership still there, still strong. And then Cody hit old Priest with a couple crossroads and got the win. 1, 2, 3. The crowd. This was the first time felt like the crowd, we could hear them like sing the entire song of Cody's thing. Like it wasn't just a whoa. Like they, from the beginning, they were singing the whole thing.
Huh.
It's kind of crazy.
I mean, you can always see people singing. Maybe it's just the way they mixed it that night.
Could have been mixed. And again, like I said, there's probably a listener being like, you dumbass, they've been doing that for 2 months. I fast forward a lot of the stuff, guys. Monday Night Raw is 3 hours. I'm not watching all the entrances.
Yeah.
This was the first time I sat and watched Crown Jewel, so this could have been a thing they were doing.
So while we're on this match, though, we can piggyback into what happened on Raw Monday night with the announcement of the War Games match.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the show, all hell broke loose. You know, basically like half the fucking roster was out the other night, and Adam Pearce runs out and was like, hey, I'm tired of this crap.
He does his best William Regal impression. He even got the dramatic take the glasses off, look into the camera, you know. That's the go-to move for anybody wearing glasses. If you're going to say something important, you got to rip them off first. Yeah. But no, the War Games match, it should be good. Yeah,
so Cody, Jay, Seth,
Sammy
versus Judgment Day.
4-on-4, not the 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Unless they add people, but who are they going to add?
Yeah. It wouldn't make any sense, really.
This is the first time Cody gets to be in the match that his dad invented.
Yeah,
kind of
cool.
Kind of cool.
Like it got a little pop for me because I did see the second half of Raw the other night, and I was like, "Oh shit, this was fun! Like this is a good way to end the show." Like,
yeah, they do. The brawl was nice too. The pull apart. They've been doing that a lot lately under the Triple H regime. So kind of like, hey, if you don't know how to end the show, I mean, granted, he did come up in the Attitude Era. Every third Attitude Era Monday Night Raw ended this way. Yeah. We're just like fucking shit. Hell was breaking loose, and Monday Night Nitro did the same thing with Shivani screaming, "We're running out of time!" Roman, everybody, all NWO's fighting somebody.
Yeah.
This is just a classic move. But no, that should be a good match. I would have to think Cody's team probably wins it.
Probably.
That's just me pulling.
And that it's real. It's not very far from now, right? That's like the first weekend in December, right?
It's the last. It's after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But you remember Bloodline won it last year. So if you're just going bad guys, good guys, I don't know what the Judgment Day would need to win for necessarily. I mean, I guess they always could, but like,
sure.
The Bloodline last year when they won had Sammy at the top, who was coming on strong. Roman Reigns, the biggest star in that company. They ain't nobody like that on Judgment Day. The big stars on the other side.
Mm-hmm. You got the moment between Sammy and Jay finally at the end of.
Yeah. So I don't know. Should be a good match though.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun. So next up, LA Knight versus Roman for the Universal Championship. Good match. Went the way we expected it to. With Roman winning, some involvement with the bloodline there at the end.
I mean, this is the way Roman Reigns has won every one of his matches. It just goes the same way.
Even before they were out, like 10 minutes in the match, fucking big ass Paul Heyman climbs up on the ropes to distract LA Knight at one point.
Where he tried.
Yeah, he tried.
He didn't get very far. He tried.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about this at the top of the show, but I don't know, man. When the 2 stars as big as these dudes, it was fine.
It's fine. They have clearly made a conscious choice with Seth Rollins' title reign to book it differently than what Roman Reigns is booked. Seth beat Drew clean. Seth, the very next night on Monday Night Raw, defends against Sami Zayn, beats him clean in the middle of the ring. All the chaos didn't ensue until after the bell.
Mm-hmm.
But you heard Michael Cole say, this is the working man's title. Like, that World Heavyweight Championship with Seth Rollins is going to be the one that's going to get the best matches with definitive results and very little shenanigans. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of, like, people interfering.
No, because
again, he also is a babyface. That's a caveat. That's a huge difference.
But he also doesn't have a crew, really. It's just Seth Rollins.
And again, that goes back to him being a babyface. But like, they clearly have booked that differently. Because when you get to Roman, this is where they're playing the greatest hits at this point. Been playing it for a while.
Right.
Somebody's going to interfere. Somebody's going to put a foot on his foot on the rope at the very last second. Like, whether it's Solo and it was Jay and now it's Jimmy.
Blunt force trauma.
He's going to kick out, like, all this sort of stuff. The one thing that I will say that I have liked about, and we talked about this last week, LA Knight going up against Roman Reigns. LA Knight's been the first guy who just does not give a shit about the streak, does not pay any kind of reverence to Roman Reigns. He is a nobody. Okay. To LA Knight, he is the biggest star. And so in a lot of Roman's matches, it starts off right, the bell rings. What they do, they just stand there. Like, and they let you build the moment. This one didn't. It just started, and they just started throwing haymakers, right?
Yeah.
And when I was watching, I was like, it's kind of like, when you get those, any kind of analysis in sports, right? Be it like a basketball team, like you got a young team, young upstart going up against like the established dynasty. And a lot of times sports analysis and announcers will be like, oh, this young team they're too young to understand what kind of a moment this is. So they're just going to play loose. They're not going to be tight. They're not going to be like pressured by the moment or anything. That's kind of what this was. LA Knight was just like, it's a match. He's a guy. I'm going to go through him. I'm going to throw haymakers.
Yeah.
So I like that. And he clearly is a star. I mean, the LA Knights, that was all over the place.
There's so many goddamn signs.
So many.
In the crowd. It's awesome.
And yeah, listen, like, at this point, whose title reign's more interesting? Who's the most interesting character in WWE? It ain't been Roman Reigns for a minute. He's basically gone this entire year without kind of being the most interesting person in WWE.
Yeah.
We have seen Seth Rollins. We have seen Sami Zayn, LA Knight, even a guy like The Miz at this point in his career. We'll talk about him Monday Night Raw. He's doing interesting work. Gunther. Roman is he's still headlining these shows. He's still having these matches, but like, does he feel as big? I don't know.
No, I mean, and that part of that could just be because of how we thought Mania should have ended last year.
And he's been away for a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they said today this was his first fucking match since SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, but even in SummerSlam, who was the most interesting character in that match? It was Jay. Like,
yeah,
this is kind of, I think fans would have turned on Roman Reigns in this title reign and the Bloodline thing way sooner had it not been for the 9-month run of Sami Zayn. You know, because fans were already complaining about the stuff being stale. You get that run with Sami Zayn, it kind of freshens it all up.
Yeah, you get oosiness.
And then right, we go from Sami to Cody, right? And it's WrestleMania and everybody's kind of hyped. And then after WrestleMania, it's kind of just been, okay, well. And now we get to the crown jewel moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, we know we're got to wait till next year.
Yeah. Not saying it won't be great, but like, damn, we better be in the bottom of the 8th. You know what I mean? This better not be the 5th inning because fans are going to leave.
Yeah.
They'll walk out of the stadium if it's like that. So, and I think we are. I think that moment a few weeks ago where Cody and Roman had their little showdown on the ramp, I think that was WWE's way of letting fans know, like, we're still going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we got some other stuff we got to do first.
Yeah. Got to finish the story, man.
The never-ending story.
Well, let's switch gears. No, was there anything else from Raw?
Oh, Monday Night Raw, yeah. So we got The Miz. Miz is going to go up against Miz in his new babyface role.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to see. I don't know if he's ever been a babyface in his entire run in WWE. He's been sort of the heel of all heels.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And now he's getting cheered going up against a guy like Gunther, and Ricochet looked like he legit got concussed. The whole end of that match was kind of... They played it... They caught themselves because it was so blatant. Because the referee was like, oh, no, wait, Ricochet. And they were like, dog, you saw the replay. You were looking at Ricochet when his shoulder came up.
Right.
Don't act like you're confused now. And then Michael Cole was like, what? And then I think finally people got in his ear like, nah, he kicked out. It's not even close. Like, we got to switch gears.
Yeah.
And they did. They did a good job of recovering. I don't know why. Unless you just want to solidify Miz as a babyface. I don't even know why he has to go through this little Ivar side quest thing. Like, does anybody care about the Viking Raiders? They've been presented as nothing.
Yeah.
Also, I ain't letting Ivar do that damn moonsault. He fucked it up twice. Okay? And that damn near Ricochet almost caught an elbow to the face, and Miz, I think, caught one to the side of the head. Like, bro, if you can't land flush, like, your big ass don't need to be doing it.
Yeah.
Do a fucking splash like Bronson Reed's doing.
Yeah.
Like, you upside down.
Because you didn't just fuck up, too. Like, you've been fucking up all week in practice, too.
And an elbow from that, right on your square of your nose, that'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
Good. So, like, if you ain't... That was one of the things that, like, Matt Sydal, Evan Bourne, when he was in WWE, you know, they didn't let anybody do the shooting star press, but that was his, like, that's what he was fucking known for. And he said he had to do the shooting star press, like, perfectly, like, 25 times in a row before they let him do it. Like, land, flush, middle, like, get up, all right, do it again. Okay, now you can kind of do it.
Mm-hmm.
But Evan Bourne was 170 pounds and was a gymnast. And
Yeah.
like, Ivar's a big-ass dude.
Yeah, he's 300 plus.
Yeah. And, like, if it ain't an elbow, like, then it's going to be a knee if you don't get all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I saw that twice Monday, and I was like, I would not. I'm going to move.
Yeah.
I'll move.
Yeah, might need to cut that off.
But yeah, that was cool. And then, we talked about Zoe Stark. The Creed brothers, we talked about that. This is the first time I've seen a full match from them going up against DIY. I know I didn't watch Monday Night Raw last week, so I know they premiered last week. But
yeah.
Those guys
I didn't know anything about them.
I mean, they're the Steiner Brothers 2.0. I mean, and they're not running away from that comparison. I mean, WWE's leaning into it. But they look good. They're like a good-looking tag team.
Yeah.
Strong as shit to be able to damn suplex somebody, hold them like that straight from the mat. I mean, that's an impressive feat of strength.
Yeah.
Shinsuke wrestled Tozawa, and it seems as if they piped in CM Punk chants.
Really?
They were very faint, and it could have been real. Listen, if WWE wants to go down that route with that guy, more power to him. I mean, he probably ain't gonna pull this kind of shit in WWE like he pulled in AEW. But either they are trying to make it something, or they're just trolling.
Yeah.
And they could just be trolling.
Yeah, so I saw a TikTok that said that they made another subtle reference, but I don't remember what it was at this point. It was just something I saw.
Well, some of the references I think people are pulling out of their ass, out of fucking just nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are things like that where you go, okay, I know I heard about 4 CM Punk chants. Very faint. Could they have popped it in? Could have been legit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, makes you wonder.
I don't think that. Surely they wouldn't at this point.
I mean, don't put it past them. That company has greeted a lot of people back into their graces who have, gone out of the fold. I mean, Ultimate Warrior, Mick Foley. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Kurt Angle that burned that company that they let back in.
Cody Rhodes.
now
that we're talking.
Yeah. So. But a lot of those guys were, I mean, Mick Foley was beloved backstage with the boys. Like, some of the guys like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have flat out said, like, no, we don't like this dude. Like, we ain't never liked this guy.
And they're your 2 champions. If they don't want him, then.
Now, they also in those same interviews and sound bites will be like, yeah, but we're business, like, we're company men. We would do the thing, blah, 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 all the kind of corporate shit. You say that after you say how you really feel.
Yeah.
But if they're willing to, like, say in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, when they know people are recording, like, we don't like this guy, how do you think they really feel about him?
Yeah.
Backstage. So, I don't know. Don't put it past WWE, but we might see old CM Punk at damn WrestleMania. It would not shock me.
Yeah.
Let me just put it that way.
Well, let's switch gears. We've been about 40 so minutes into this one on WWE. We got a few things from AEW to talk about. And my dumb ass didn't make any notes, but we were just talking about Dynamite. Dynamite was a really good show last night between Swerve and Penta, fucking Samoa Joe and Keith Lee going out there slapping meat.
Yep.
And then MJF just week in, week out lately, just giving it his all. I mean, him and Danny Garcia was a great way to start the fucking show last night.
Yeah.
I thought.
It was fantastic.
You get babyface MJF at the end, like trying to shake his hand, and it seemed legit and sincere. And, he even said to him, he was like, this could be you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's been great in this role as a babyface champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, he hasn't been a babyface the whole time he's been champion.
Sure.
And
he still is doing the scumbag thing and all that, but
yeah,
he's clearly a fucking face right now.
Yeah, the crowd is eating it up. And again, it's a good spot for Danny Garcia. That dance is over.
But then he got poked in the eye.
Yeah.
He was trying to do the dance.
But even when he was making his comeback at the end, he's dancing with the one arm, right? He's still selling, but he's still like trying to get it, and the crowd was eating it up.
That, and when he had in the Dragon Slayer, he had him locked in and leaned back and started doing it.
Yeah.
And that's when
he got caught. Yeah. And then, like you said, I love the little thing at the end with Daddy Magic and Angelo not letting Danny get to show the sign of respect to MJF. We've talked about this before, but like what's cool about Dynamite right now, and it's probably the way it should be when you have a champion. The whole show is just revolving around that guy and that championship. He starts the show, he ends the show.
Yeah.
Everything is an offshoot of it. Now Danny Garcia has something that he can do based off his interaction with the champion. We have what happened with the Acclaim, and we'll get to that at the end of the show. We got Samoa Joe out there, what he did in the show, because in his pursuit of the title, Roderick Strong in the Kingdom, Jay White. The Guns are going after the Ring of Honor titles. Like, everything is swirling around this one guy. And, like, if that one dude in the center is not good, it's going to make the show, not great. But he is so fantastic that everything he touches, he elevates and makes better. And I think that's the true sign of a champion.
Yeah. So we get Adam Cole via FaceTime or whatever at the beginning.
Scraggly beard. That's heel turn 101. What do you do? The beard's got to come out.
So we talked about this before we recorded. It's got to be him in the devil mask. But you said you picked up on something.
Okay, so we'll just flash forward to the end. Okay, so the Acclaim get beat up backstage by assailants, masked assailants, 4 of them, I believe. However, there was no devil physically present, so we haven't seen the devil in the flesh since Adam Cole has left TV to go get his ankle surgery, if it's legit. Again, his ankle or injury could just all be at work. But they get jumped, the devil pops up at the screen, goes back off. We've seen it before. Now, the obvious, and I think honestly, even though it's obvious, what's something that would be the most satisfying is the devil is Adam Cole. There's that. The batshit crazy theory, the devil is CM Punk. Again, we talked about that. That would be fucking insane if that is true. I've seen online the devil could be Roderick Strong. I don't think that's as satisfying. If you were going to do Roderick Strong, why would you just not do Adam Cole to be the devil?
Right.
Kind of like that. I've seen Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Again, I think that's a complete misfire.
Yeah, that's a misfire.
Kyle O'Reilly. Again, I don't think O'Reilly's a big enough of a star. Mm-hmm. He could be revealed as one of the masked assailants, but being the devil himself, not. The one that I saw this week where I was like, I don't know. I'm not completely against it. The devil is Britt Baker, which would be, she would kind of be this woman who would, I guess, be pulling the strings behind the scenes. Perhaps she is maybe jealous that her boyfriend, Adam Cole, is hanging around and spending so much time with MJF. You know, she's playing, if that were to happen. She hasn't
been on TV much.
She's not been on TV much. She also has, in the dirt sheets and online with the wrestling community, kind of a reputation of being a manipulator behind the scenes, right? The whole Thunder Rosa aspect of how all that went down. Again, if I was in the writer's room in AEW, or Tony Khan pitched me that idea, I'd be like, you have to play this out. Okay, how do you see this ending if we're going to go down this route? Not that it's a bad idea. Like the Jungle Boy Jack Perry, that's a bad idea at face value.
Sure. But you said you saw the little tease.
So where the people are getting this is apparently there was this, and I missed it. I don't know how I missed it. There was a commercial that featured all of the AEW's women's roster. In one of the Britt Baker solo shots, she's got her fingers up doing little devil horns. Now, I don't know. Again, this could do all these little breadcrumbs leading off in different directions, right? But
the only thing that would be weird about that would be a neat twist and turn, and I wouldn't be completely mad at it. But she had basically done a face turn, like before the last, and it's been a month or two since we've seen her on TV. She had basically been a face, because it's her.
And again, if you're going to do Britt Baker, why not just do Adam Cole?
Yeah,
Britt can't get physical unless you just want the swerve to pull like, oh, it's her, and then Britt. I don't even know how you get it.
Yeah,
because Adam Cole would still have to turn heel, and she would be manipulating him to win the title. Like, it just gets in all this.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad, but there's a lot of strings you have to untangle for that to make sense or to make it satisfying.
Yeah.
Again, Adam Cole, it's just right there.
Yeah, it's got.
Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer.
Adam.
But again, it's curious that, and I think maybe they missed an opportunity last night to kind of throw people off the scent by just not having a guy in the devil mask be backstage with the assailants.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they are wanting to lead people on to believe, like, oh, maybe it is MJF, and MJF is secretly doing all this shit. I don't know. I just think if I was back, I'd be like, okay, we got to have at least somebody. Even if Adam Cole, even if this shit is legit and it's a legit injury and he needs time to recover and he's not at TV, we can't bring him to TV, and we don't want to bring him to TV because we don't want people will speculate. People will fucking put shit out in the dirt sheet, spoilers. We got to get somebody that kind of looks like physical in stature to Adam to put in this mask and to have it be back there.
Have a little hair sticking out at the back.
Also, AEW guys, listen. That was the most unconvincing office.
Yeah.
Don't do something different.
Yeah. Okay. It was like the wall outside of it, right? And then this quote unquote wall with this window with the sugar glass or whatever you call it. And then it was like this clearly like $50 desk, like the cheapest desk you could find at Office Depot.
Yeah.
With like a fucking flower pot or some shit on it. It was like nothing in
Whose
there.
Whose office is that?
Yeah, nothing was in there to put a goddamn laptop on it or put a notepad and some pencils or something there.
If you sure, but just don't do that. Like, don't even if that's your idea. Oh, we're gonna build an office. Why? That looks stupid as shit when the camera turns. You're like that. Nobody looks like. Again, because all you're trying to do is have something visual that makes it look like Anthony Bowen's really got hurt. Why not put his head and frame it up in a way where you can't see and put his head in the door jamb and just have the guys kick his head in the door?
Yeah.
The door's right there. You can rig that up in a way. It still looks, you can make it sound good. It'd be like, holy shit, he just got his head crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was an office that they clearly just, the fake walls they threw up in probably 25 minutes. Damn, Bowens goes through and his leg hits the wall and looks like the fucking wall is about to fall down. Just don't.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
part.
just don't do. You look. It looks dumb, and this is the shit that makes you look amateurish, and this is the shit that people make fun of you for.
The desk stood out. It was like a sore thumb to me. I was like, "What? Who was in charge of that shit?"
Yeah. I mean, then they had lights set up, and the MJF comes running back. You can see where they clearly set the lights up to set it again. Like, we know kayfabe is dead, but like, present it, keep it. It's your job to try to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Not to do these little things like a crowbar, anything.
Put his head in the fucking garage door. We've seen that before.
We've seen that. Like, yeah, anything. Don't build a whole $15 looking set because it looks like it's $15.
Yeah,
and it looks out of place.
They've done them before where fucking, Cody punched a goddamn glass window before trying to get to Jericho and them. Right? Remember?
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah, so that again, that's not even picking nits to me. That's a blatant like
just horrible.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Or that's a thing where like, okay, if that's your idea, build this office and let's look at it. Then the guys build the office and you go, nope, that looks fucking stupid. We can't do that. Sorry, guys. Let's figure out something else.
Save this fucking window pane for something else. We can figure it out. Yeah. Where we can spend some time with it. We'll put that shit on a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah.
Because this ain't it.
Yeah, that was amateur hour.
Yeah. So we got a few minutes left. Let's get into some of the other matches. We mentioned Keith Lee and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe just vacated his title, which on the one hand I was like, oh shit. Well, this got interesting, and then on the other hand I was like, well, now what? Like.
Well, you can't at this point. You can't have somebody beat Joe for that title,
right?
And you probably want that title off of Joe. I'm not mad by this decision.
Sure, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it caught my attention.
Again, if you want to like, be I guess super critical, and maybe this was the right call. Just don't have Joe win that title in the first place.
Yeah,
let somebody else win it so you can have it. So you don't get to this point where you have to have
some days.
Yeah, you got to have Joe just vacate the title. I do like what they're doing with Joe. And again, I do like, I've talked about this. I do like that MJF has multiple enemies at this point with multiple storylines. And I think Samoa Joe's is like the most interesting because he's basically like, I don't like you and I will kick your ass and I'm waiting to kick your ass, but I'm willing to be your friend if you give me something because clearly you have no friends at this point.
Yeah.
Like they're all just getting their ass whooped.
Yeah.
And again, like
he's just standing there looking at him like, okay.
Yeah, and MJF has to defend these ROH titles against the Guns at Full Gear. He's gonna need a partner. Like Acclaimed, they just got their ass handed to him. Like,
yeah,
it would be something to be kind of satisfying if fucking Samoa Joe's music hits at Full Gear and he is the partner for MJF, and you beat the Guns.
It'd be funny if he works out a deal somehow with like Roddy. And he and Roddy are fixing to get ready, and then Joe shows up, and
Yeah, and I mean that
MJF's got a pick.
That's a cool little thing too, cool little wrinkle that he has this partner because I don't think he's going to defend the titles solo. And if he does defend the titles solo, the Guns should beat MJF at Full Gear to win those belts.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think you can do it again where he single-handedly beats these people.
No.
Because again, he beat the Righteous. They're not really nothing. The Guns, you have a lot of stock invested in. They're in a part of a faction that you have a lot of big plans for. If you're gonna have MJF defend it solo, they need to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can cheat to win still. Jay White can still come out, but they need to win those titles. And maybe that is what they do. Because maybe they are in kind of a pickle, because if this Adam Cole injury was legit and is real,
he's got a minute.
Yeah, you're going to have a minute. You need to probably get them titles off of MJF in some way. So, yeah, a lot of different routes they can go down here, but I love Samoa Joe. I love what he's doing right now. It kind of sucks that it has to happen against Keith Lee, who I think I'd have to probably go back and listen to our podcast when Keith Lee debuted. I think we probably had saw a lot of potential in Keith that just haven't. I mean, if you were talking about which signing to AEW is the biggest bust so far, unfortunately, I think it is him.
I mean, maybe. He and Swerve had a good run, though.
They had a good run, but it's
been it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then he got relegated to ROH, and the thing with Shane Taylor, and he kind of has literally had nothing to do up until he interrupts Samoa Joe last week and says, "I want the title."
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Because even in WWE, he was a dude that a lot of people saw a lot of potential in.
Mm-hmm.
But just for whatever reason,
didn't make it all work.
It just didn't make it now.
He's not great on the mic.
No, he's not that. And again, he suffers from the same thing a lot of guys suffer from, where it's just if he's not an ass kicker, there ain't nothing else you can do with him.
Mm-hmm.
He can't play another part because he's a behemoth of a human being.
They tried doing the whole athletic big dude, because he went over the top rope a couple times and has done some top rope moves a time or two. But how many times can somebody like him do that? Yeah,
if you're going to be a champion, you got to bring more to the table than just that.
Yeah.
That's Wardlow's problem in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
He can't.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him being in this MJF picture.
Oh, yeah. And did he have any segment Wednesday night?
He was on a real quick pre-tape.
Little thing, pre-tape, yeah. So MJF or Wardlow is also lingering out there. Maybe they're setting up some kind of huge World's End multi-man match, or maybe they're setting up some kind of big multi-man match for, I don't know, 1st of December before they get to the World's End pay-per-view.
It is interesting, though. MJF, I'll start to circle back to this. He had on his jacket last night, said 2024 on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to spend much time on it, but do you think he goes to WWE?
I mean, sure, it's a possibility. Yeah.
I'm just real curious, because
we don't know what his contract situation is. Now, I would find it highly unlikely that Tony Khan would put this dude in this kind of position without having some kind of long-term guarantee.
Yeah.
But also, keep in mind, this is the same dude that brought CM Punk back not once, not twice, but 3 times, and the fucking same shit happened again.
Yeah.
So, let's not put it past the guy to make bad decisions from time to time.
I don't know, man.
But
I'm real curious how the next couple of months play out. Month and a half. Couple months.
And there's also other free agents lingering out. There's a Will Ospreay's lingering out there.
Yeah.
There are other guys who are... Dolph Ziggler is still out there. Mustafa Ali is out there still. So,
shit, I forgot about that.
There are other guys out there.
Yeah. Do we need to touch on any of the other matches? We touched briefly on Swerve.
Swerve and Penta was really awesome, and I liked the beatdown with Hangman because
Mm-hmm.
Swerve broke into his house.
Mm-hmm. Get your ass beat.
So yeah, I think that is a good rivalry. Again, nobody moves like Swerve.
Did you catch? I think it was Taz was talking about how he was trying to talk about how the different styles of Swerve and Penta, but then he kind of convinced himself. He was like, you could hear it in his voice. He's like, but they're also pretty similar somehow.
Yeah,
it was like something just snapped in his head. And he was like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
And I think, listen, Penta's a guy that I think if you tweak his presentation, or not his presentation, but the way you present him particularly, I think he can be a big star in that company.
He's
got the look.
Fucking good.
He has a huge following in Mexico. He's great inside the ring. He kind of is just at that mid-card tier. But I think he's a dude who easily you could slot into the main event role, let him get a couple wins here, and he's a big star in that company too. Moxley and Cassidy are continuing their feud at Full Gear.
Timeless Tony Storm and Sheeta,
which
black
was
and white segment
again fantastic. I mean, Full Gear, that match either goes one of two ways. Either Tony Storm wins the title at her Hollywood coming out party. If she does, man, what just kind of a non-entity they have made Hikaru Shida as a 3-time champion. And hey, you got to put over this woman who's on the up and come, which I would get. Or this new debuting Maria May, who is debuted last night and is looking like she's going to do kind of a Trish Stratus, Mickey James type of angle. Ends up costing Tony Storm the match at Full Gear.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know why you would do that, because the criticisms we've had about the AEW women's division is that sometimes the champion doesn't feel like the biggest act in that division.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest act in that division right now is Tony Storm, and it's not close.
Yeah.
So like maybe Tony Storm doesn't need the title. Maybe the title needs to be on Tony Storm.
She needs to win, and they need to blast off black and white confetti.
Black and white, yeah. Then you can have the other girl come out and they do a thing. Like, again, Jamie Hayter's injured though. She's lingering out there.
Somewhere, yeah.
When she comes back, I mean,
what was her injury again? Did she do?
I don't even remember. But she was on the run of a lifetime. She was.
Yeah.
She was incredible in the ring, and the fans were 100% behind her. And I think whenever she comes back, I think she's going to pick right up where she left off.
Has Britt not been on TV just because Adam Cole's not there, and like they don't ride together and just be like, "Fuck it, I'm on."
Maybe. Again, I don't watch Rampage, so maybe she's on. I don't
think she's been.
I don't watch Rampage.
I used to. I lately I haven't been watching Rampage.
It's just a lot of wrestling. A lot of wrestling.
Yeah. If there was something a couple weeks ago I watched, and I was like, I'll watch it for this one match, and then I'm going to bed.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's after SmackDown. We got little heelish Young Bucks backstage promo against Omega and Jericho.
Yeah.
They're better as heels. They're better dicks. They just are.
Yeah.
And I love Kenny's line, be like, you might be the greatest tag team ever, but like, if you want to do the tag team thing again, I've already beat you.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to wrestle you, but I will beat you.
Me and Hangman whooped your ass. Me and Ibushi whooped your ass. Like
me and this old fucker over here could whoop your ass.
Yeah. And it is cool. At least the Young Bucks brought it up. Like, hey, we used to be the Elite, because they lost the titles, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah.
They all just kind of broke apart for no reason. Again, what we talk about with AEW all the time, they just start things and stop things and never give you a reason why.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good match.
It was funny the way he worded it. He was like, we got to do the Elite again.
Yeah.
It's just the way that was worded was funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were coming out to Carry On My Wayward Son, and they just stopped doing that.
It's a weird fucking choice.
Yeah, weird choice.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I thought Dynamite was great last week. I thought it was great this week.
The Jay White Mark Briscoe was a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Just
the
good shit.
Was great. At the end of the day, even if the stories in AEW aren't great, they can just fall back on good ass wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you can get Swerve and Penta on a random fucking Wednesday.
But we're probably beating this to fucking ground, but they're doing better at the little shit too, like fucking Juice Robinson.
Yeah,
hollering like when he said squeeze his kiwis or whatever.
Yeah, their character work is. I mean, Roderick Strong's been great.
Yeah,
Thomas Tony Storm has been a joy to watch. Again, MJF, the whole show circling around him. Yeah. He's held it up on his back the whole entire show. So it's great, and there's cool little wrinkles and interesting things that can go. Like when Roderick Strong, he's in a wheelchair and he's funny, but when he looks in the camera, he's like, "I am a wrestling legend." You're like, "Yeah, you kind of are." Like at any moment, you can just make that dude a badass again.
Yeah.
Again, Saturday Night on Collision, he jumps out the wheelchair and hits the jumping knee real fast and
jumps back in.
Goes back. It was just.
I love the shirt
stuff.
too. He's wearing, that says Adam with a whole bunch of fucking A's.
Yeah. I'm glad that they've gotten away from, because I did think the Adam Cole at the Roderick Strong residence, that was played out. That was getting old.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Roddy's back on TV and back there in the flesh.
One last question, and this will wrap it up. Do you think, because MJF had made this whole point about only doing the bare minimum to have to defend his title, right? Like, because he started out the year and would barely wrestled, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was on TV a lot, but he didn't defend his title a lot. Well, now he's on TV like every goddamn week fighting somebody.
Yeah.
And do you think that maybe that swerve happened because Punk was gone and they needed, because he's mostly on Dynamite, but he's been on Collision and shit too.
I think it's two things. I think it is that it's a lack of star power in the absence of CM Punk, but also he's, like we talked about, he's become a babyface. Babyfaces have to defend their title. It's just the same thing Seth Rollins is doing on the other show.
Yeah.
That is what babyfaces have to be, fighting champions, or else they are not babyfaces, because you cannot present good guys as cowards. They just can't be. That's the old thing we talk about all the time, is that there'll be 4 bad guys in the ring and the babyface will just run right down and get in there and act like he whoop all of them.
Yeah. Because
you can't present heroes as backing down from challenges. It's not how people do not respond to that. But yeah, I do think that's the being the babyface, that's sort of the kayfabe answer. But I do think in management, in reality, ratings are not great. We don't have CM Punk, so okay, we need Kenny Omega, we need Chris Jericho, we need Jon Moxley, we need FTR, we need Ricky Starks, we need MJF, we need all hands on deck on all these fucking shows, and we got to build this shit. Samoa Joe
is back again.
Well, Samoa Joe was a household name, but he was off TV for a long time.
Yeah.
And now he's right back in the title picture every week.
So, yeah, it makes you wonder, how we've seen and we heard the stories, and then they fucking showed it. Tony Khan's piece of paper with, his long form booking, and how he charts everything out. And, he's like, they had the whole segment with Sammy where he's like, look, these are things that I've got.
On the All Access. So yeah.
So, it just makes you wonder, how willing is he to be all right, well, fuck that. We gotta go in a different direction. And because it kind of seems like that's what happened with MJF.
A little bit. Yeah. I think the fans probably forced his hand, because they just weren't going to let that guy be a bad guy. We talked about that. We've been talking about that for a year.
Yeah, earlier this year we were like, okay, well, if he has 4 or 5 matches, these are who, and we picked the first 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
and now it's just a fucking free for all.
Yeah, now Daniel Garcia is just getting a random match.
Yeah.
But I keep in mind this. You talk about Tony Khan, whether he's willing to just throw the script away and rewrite it. This is the same guy who had made up his mind that Chris Statlander was going to beat Jade Cargill. Statlander gets hurt, and he just lets Cargill hold the thing literally until the day Statlander is clear. She comes back, has an impromptu match, beats her, and wins the title.
Yeah.
So, and that was 8 months.
And then Jade is off TV for a couple months, comes back, has one match,
and goes to WWE.
Peaced out. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, that's probably where a booking committee comes in, and I haven't heard any more reports about how much. I know Danielson's got more say so backstage. Obviously, Moxley, Jericho, the big names. There are other people that are helping them, but yeah, no, it's a good question. But that's part of your ability of being a creative, particularly in a genre of storytelling that changes on a week-to-week basis in front of a live crowd, and their reactions can change, and guys and girls can get injured, and it forces your hand a different way. I would be curious to see if Adam Cole had never gotten hurt, if this is legit.
Yeah.
Again, I keep prefacing this could all just straight be a work
right now.
Yeah, it could all straight be a work, but if it was a serious injury, where were they going to go? Were they always going to do this devil mask thing? And is that why the devil mask is only presented on screen in video packages and not physically present in the building? That could be why.
Yeah, could be. Well, I think that'll do it for this week. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at Alabama Slam Pod. We don't do a lot on Facebook. We basically just post the main shows there when they come out. But we're on Facebook as well. Just search for the Alabama Slam Podcast. TikTok. I'm going to try to get back into TikTok again soon. It's been a minute. My work schedule is not nearly as crazy as it was this last month. And be sure to follow the Alabama Take on all social medias. That's our network. We've got a bunch of other podcasts that come out weekly and or monthly. They're pop culture podcast, book podcast, two different sports podcasts, and a Star Wars podcast, and a bunch of shit happening over there. Follow that, and you can get t-shirts. Just go to tpublic.com, search for Alabama Slam. And next week we'll probably run down the Full Gear card.
Full Gear. Also, we're probably gonna have another host, right?
Co-host.
Another co-host.
Yeah, I was gonna tease it, but
shit, my bad. See, this is why you do that thing. This is why I say I just come in and fuck shit up. My bad.
It's all good. I mean, we are bringing on a new co-host, and tentatively. I say tentatively because schedules have been nuts lately, but yeah, we'll be recording Tuesday with a new co-host, Stephen Eford. You've heard him on this show once before, and we probably referenced him almost every week since.
I think he brings a different opinion, a different mindset than what probably you and I both have. So it should make for good discussion. He
doesn't watch AEW as much as we do, and I don't think we watch WWE as much as he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got it. We've had a group chat since the first time he was on the show, and he has always got interesting angles and takes on things. And Patrick and I are usually 99% on the same page, so it'll be different to have a different perspective in. And we're looking forward to starting that next week. So y'all welcome him into the show, and you'll get to know him a little better over the next few weeks. And we're excited about it. So y'all be sure to tune in next week. And if you're in North Alabama, go over to Singing River on Saturday night, which would be the 11th, for the Saga Continues, New South Pro Wrestling. I've already bought my ticket. The last time I announced I was going to a show, I didn't pull the trigger and didn't make it over there, but ticket has been purchased and I'm going. I'm excited. The card for that one looks really fun. Hunter Drake versus Dylan McQueen should be probably the most fun. I got his name right? Dylan McQueen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's him.
That dude put on a show the last time I saw him when they did New South versus GCW.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be fun, and a bunch of other fun shit looks like they've got planned for that night. So I think GM Dump Sanders is going to be in the ring.
Uh-oh.
I think they've got a 4-on-4 situation happening. But yeah, it should be fun. And if you see me, say hello. I'll have on my Alabama Slam shirt. I'm going to be that guy.
Rep the merch.
Yeah, I think, I'll be there. So it should be fun. And y'all share us with your friends if you like us. And that would be super helpful. So we'll see y'all next week.
Later, guys.